All right, the Ashes of Creation legal mess just got another chapter, and this one's a little different from the others. Sharif's already been dealing with the Dawson lawsuit, and now he's dealing with the Karamanis lawsuit, along with dealing with the fallout from the mass layoffs. Now, on top of all of that, his own former law firm has filed a federal lawsuit against him and his husband John Moore for over $1 million. So back in February, right as the whole Intrepid Studios implosion was kicking off, Sharif and Moore hired a law firm called Withers Bergman. This is the law firm that represented Sharif in the big federal case against Robert Dawson and the rest of the group that took over Intrepid. They signed on February 6th, and by the end of the month, they'd paid a $150,000 retainer just to get things started. And these guys were busy. According to the new complaint, Withers wasn't just handling the Dawson lawsuit. They were juggling a California state case, a Nevada proceeding, a California labor investigation, receiver motions, injunction fights, an amended complaint, a settlement conference, all of it. This was a full-on legal war on multiple fronts, and Withers says they were the ones running point on most of it from February through June. Withers sent 10 invoices during that stretch, and altogether they add up to just under $1.9 million. That's not a typo. Almost $1.9 million in legal bills in about 4 months. Sharif and Moore did pay some of it. The complaint says they paid a total of just over $824,000, which includes that original retainer. But their last payment came on May 26th. After that, according to Withers, nothing, which leaves an outstanding balance of just over $1 million. And Withers isn't messing around on the interest either. Their engagement letter let them charge 9% annual interest on unpaid fees. According to the complaint, they sent formal notice invoking that right on July 24th. So that balance is actively growing while this plays out. This lawsuit wasn't filed in California, where the Intrepid case is happening. It was filed in Virginia, specifically the Western District of Virginia, because that's where they live. As for the legal theories, Withers threw a few at the wall, which is pretty normal in a fee dispute like this. The main one is just straightforward breach of contract. There was a signed engagement letter, Withers did the work, sent the bills, and says they never got paid in full. But there's a second claim called account stated. It's worth understanding because it's basically Withers saying, you had these invoices for months, you never once objected to them, you kept making payments on them, and Sharif personally told us in late June that payment was coming. In other words, by not disputing the bills and promising to pay, Withers argues Sharif and Moore basically agreed the amount owed was accurate. That's a pretty specific and pointed claim to include. They also tacked on quantum merit and unjust enrichment as backup arguments, which just mean even if the contract somehow doesn't hold up in court, we still did the work and deserve to be paid for it. Standard fallback stuff attorneys include, so they've got more than one way to win. Now, the important thing to say here, this is one side of the story. This is Withers' complaint. These are their allegations, and Sharif and Moore haven't had the chance to respond yet in court. Maybe they dispute the amount. Maybe they think the work was excessive. We don't know their side yet, and I'm not going to pretend we do. But here's why I think this actually matters beyond just, wow, that's a lot of money. For one, this is now a completely separate legal front for Sharif. He's already fighting Dawson and the TFE side over control of Intrepid. He's already dealing with receiver motions and a turnover motion over company assets. Now, on top of all of that, he's personally on the hook for a lawsuit in a totally different state from his own former lawyers. And two, this actually lines up with something that already happened back in the Dawson case. At the end of June, Sharif suddenly swapped out his legal team in the Dawson lawsuit. Withers Bergman was out, and a new attorney, William Small, came in. At the time, we didn't really know why, but looking at the timeline now, it tracks pretty closely with what Withers is alleging. Sharif's last payment to Withers was May 26th. About a month later, on June 26th, his legal team told the other parties in the Dawson case that Sharif was hiring new counsel, and Withers would be substituting out. The switch became official on June 30th, and the court approved it on July 6th. Now, to be clear, the substitution paperwork itself doesn't say anything about non-payment. It was actually filed with Withers' full consent, and nothing in it points to a dispute. So I'm not going to sit here and claim the money issue is definitely why he switched lawyers. That would be reading way more into it than the documents actually support. But you can't ignore the timing. Payments stopped in late May. The switch happened at the end of June, and now about 5 weeks after that, Withers is suing for the exact balance they say was never paid. Draw your own conclusions there, but the dates line up. And there was something else that the switch caused. Sharif's new attorney needed time to catch up on this insanely complicated case, so there was a whole fight over hearing dates for the competing motions to appoint a receiver over Intrepid. Those got pushed back more than once, and as of the most recent order, that hearing is actually set for today when I'm recording this video, August 11th. So bottom line, Sharif and his husband hired a law firm in February to fight for control of Intrepid. They racked up almost $1.9 million in legal bills in 4 months. They paid a chunk of it, then stopped in May. A month later, they switched lawyers. And now in August, the old law firm is suing them personally for the $1 million plus they say is owed. This whole situation started as, is Ashes of Creation going to be okay? Now we're watching lawsuits spin off of lawsuits. I know it's been a minute, but I'm happy to hopefully be back to making content for you. And with that, I'll let you know if Sharif and Moore file a response, because that's when we'll actually get their side of it. But until then, I'll keep covering, 3, 4, I don't even know how many lawsuits there are. We'll try to do some wrap-ups of what we maybe have missed over the last couple of months, try to cover this hearing that happened today, and maybe look into a little bit of the theories or arguments that are happening. I'll see you in the next one.